You are listening to the CigarNoise, boys.
In my thoughts, I have seen rings of smoke through the trees, and the voices of those who stand looking.
Can I swear on this podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're listed as explicit.
No idea, bro.
Oh, makes me wonder. Oh, really makes me wonder. Oh, crap.
Oh, wait, time out.
Wait, Stairways to Heaven.
Stairway to Heaven.
Thank you. Yes. What's up, everybody? CigarNoise Boys here.
That really well. Because I made out with a girl the whole song.
That's commitment.
Someone...
Stop. First
My
kiss.
goodness. That's impressive. My first kiss was by a garbage can on New Year's Eve, like 10 minutes before New Year's. We went to throw out the garbage together, and we just kissed by the trash.
There you go. That happened.
That was in 2020?
Shut up. What's up, everybody? CigarNoise Boys here. Dom and Tyler, joined this week by Nick of Foundation Cigars.
Nick.
And Nick, do I have to... Nick R. Agua. Yes. And you guys are... Yes. I got it, Tyler. You guys are both working off of the same... This is the first time we've had like a live podcast kind of thing.
En vivo y directamente a tu corazones y tu cabezas de Estelí, Nicaragua. Tyler y Nicaragua.
Tyler.
I feel like Tyler...
We are in Estelí. You're over there in... You're over in lockdown over there.
No toilet paper.
Bay Area. Yeah. With that, Nick, with that intro, I feel like you need to make a luchador mask for Tyler.
That would be amazing. I would be totally behind that. I would support that.
What are you smoking, Tom?
I smoked my last Foundation cigar that I had when I thought we were going to do the podcast last week. So I'm smoking right now a black... It's not a black honey. It's, I don't know. It's not warped. It's Ezra Zion. Their new, whatever came out, Maduro thing. I don't know.
Where'd you get it from?
Ezra Zion.
All right, yeah. Consumer. I'm smoking something Nick gave me. That's all I can say about it.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about that, because you seem like you want to brag a bit.
Nick said I can't.
This guy's unbelievable.
It's nice.
It's the first cigar he's gotten from me the whole trip.
I've gotten 3 total.
Well, good. You can't just travel down there and expect everyone to hand you cigars. It's not Big Smoke, man.
I bought a bunch of stuff from Romacraft, and then Gustavo has a bunch of cigars at the house, but I feel bad smoking them all. But when I'm at Skip's house, man, he's like fair games. You saw what I was smoking on Instagram, all this limited shit. Nick, you want to tell Dom what Skip said about our podcast?
Oh, yeah. No, you can tell him that.
I forgot the details.
Is it about the title again?
No.
Yeah.
He says, we don't have to get into how we got into it, but he just said, we're talking about cigar reviews and the dog. We gotta shut that door. That's a nice dog, by the way. And he said, look, Tyler's got a podcast and it sucks, but I like Tyler, so I listen to it. And then he said, they don't really talk about cigars or something like that. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, not too much. I feel like at least half. It's always based around cigars.
Well, and that's what JP Finger
The
Guys.
one and only rebar?
I'm sorry. I got to pause this for a second. So shit just is going down right now.
Oh, my God. What's going down?
I don't know. I got to see this. Because they're just addressing here. I think they're going to start, locking down.
They already announced that. They're cutting flights from...
No. Ortega's wife is speaking right now.
Oh, shit.
Hold on.
Tyler,
Yeah.
Tyler, you're gonna be in Nicaragua for another 3 months. Hope you packed enough underwear and socks.
So should we go on without him, or what should we do?
We can talk a bit, sure.
Should I just talk about what I've been doing then?
Sure, yeah. Tyler, you've been in Nicaragua for a week and a half?
16 days.
Dang, that's
I've been
weeks.
here, March 2nd. I leave March 20th. So,
you plan on leaving March 20th.
plan on leaving Friday, yeah. But I guess something's going down and Nick had to leave. So,
Something's oh my goodness. You're out of touch. Go ahead, tell me about your stay. What did you do?
So I went to a bunch of different things. I spent like 3 days learning about fermentation process. I documented a lot of that on Instagram, just about how the different. 1 second, let me get my notebook out real quick. Sorry. About the different primings and different tobacco and different ways to ferment tobacco, and it's actually kind of interesting. And I actually spent a lot of time doing that. So, like, I'll give you a quick rundown. Is so the what you want to know is with the fermentation process is you want to know what priming is it? Is it, like 1 through 10? Is it Velado, Seco, Viso? Is it Ligero?
Okay, pause.
Yeah.
I know the 3 levels.
4 levels.
Okay, I know Viso, Seco, and Ligero.
Seco, Viso, Ligero.
The 3 levels, yes. But what do you mean 1 through 10?
It's the primings. So, but there's also another one called Velado, which people don't use in cigars.
It's touching the dirt?
Yeah, it's a small. So primings, or the numbers are. All right, Skip explained this to me quite a bit, and then so if you look at the tobacco leaf, right, and it's got 16 leaves. So like the bottom 4 leaves, Seco, the middle 8 leaves, Viso, the top 4 leaves, Ligero, and then you have primings, which are, then you have the numbers 1 through 10. So sometimes, like if you're blending a cigar, let's say you use, because all tobacco is, it's all natural, so it could be, some could be smaller, some could be bigger. So just because technically it's Ligero, or just technically it's Viso, it could be considered Ligero. If you're trying to get the most of that type of tobacco, it's kind of hard to explain.
Is it based on the size of the leaf?
Yeah. So they'll sort it and they'll try to get, because you get more money for Ligero. So it's kind of hard to explain. I'll show a picture on Instagram about it, but basically, like if you're so like Skip was saying, in one blend he uses let's say Esteli Ligero. So it would be like 8, 9, 10s Ligero, and Viso is 6, 7, 4 through 7. But sometimes Viso at number 7 could be it's the same as Ligero at priming number 8. So it's kind of interchangeable. Like you can get close. So sometimes it's Ligero 8, sometimes it could be a Viso 7.
So it's the position on the plant itself, and I mean it depends plant to plant, because you can have a high Viso that smokes like a Ligero.
Zach, thank you, Dom. Thank you.
It's all right. We can't all be teachers.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a good teacher. So I learned a lot about that. I learned, then you learn about how many times has it been conditioned. Conditioned is adding water to the polon. So, and then you want to know how long has it been in the polon for, the tobacco.
Question. Adding water to the polon to condition it, does that increase fermentation, or does it calm down fermentation?
It increases the moisture in the leaf, so it raises the temperature. So you have the weight of, you have the temperature, and then you have the humidity, so the humidity raises the temperature in the tobacco. So, like Ligero will take, Esteli Ligero will take about a year to ferment, and then you wait 3 months to condition it, and then so you wait 3 months to add, because when the leaves go into the polong, there's already moisture in them, so Ligero, it will stay in it longer, so you wait 3 months to condition Ligero, which pretty much is if it's filler, they use a big rod. I did a video of it, and then they spray it. If it's the wrapper binder, they'll it's put in the pilon differently, so they wet it differently, and then they check the temperature every single day, and then they'll rotate it. Is when what's going on?
All right, we good.
All right, good. So I'm just talking about what I've been doing.
Yeah.
So we were talking about fermentation, and
Nice.
then so it's talking about rotating it. How often do they rotate a polong?
It depends on the temperature.
Yeah.
Depends on where it's at in the process.
Can you explain how they rotate it though?
Yeah. Let's get right into it. So at the beginning of the process, I mean, a lot of times, depending on the tobacco tobacco's coming off the field, it's already at a really high percentage of moisture content. What we're trying to do in the barns is get the central vein down to about 18% moisture content. So when it's coming off of the farms, a lot of time you go into sorting and selecting, of course. And then sometimes you won't even go into sorting or selecting. You'll put it in like basic pilons just to start to work some of that moisture that's already coming off of the fields. And then other times, you go into then sorting and selecting. You put it in for a good 3-4 months and get it to work to about 80, 88, 85, and then you begin your first hollow. So you start wetting the tobacco depending on, where it's at. And then, you're going to restack the pilons at that point. And then you're going to start getting temperatures that go up to about, 104. It depends, right? This is where it gets into the details of fermentation. A lot of people have different styles. But for me, in the tobaccos that you're using, this is the difference for me, in my opinion, among certain tobaccos, is how fast you take that, right? Because you can take that much faster and you can get it cured much quicker, but it does in many ways compromise, again, for me in certain things, flavor, right? And I always say it's like my grandmother's pasta sauce. It is the difference between, popping open a can, putting it on the top of the stove, and of course working with fresh ingredients, and then using low heat over a long period of time, slow simmer with the pasta sauce. Because what happens when you start turning up those heats, you start turning up the heat and you start losing things, when you're cooking pasta to evaporation. Eventually, that heat would eventually evaporate everything, in that pan and down to the pan. The same thing with tobacco for me. So, you can get into styles where a lot of guys say, oh, it's too young, or it's too this, or it's, a lot of times for me, it's over fermented sometimes, or it's too fermented. And you start losing a lot of the essential flavors of the leaf. There's a lot of times where I'm going through, certain fermentations or and would love to actually release the cigar where it is, but it's not acceptable to the marketplace where it's combusting. For me, I'm not that picky. To pick up a lighter and hit the cigar for me, if the fucking taste is on point, but that's most of the market wouldn't say, they would be, oh, it doesn't burn right. It's not, it's not fermented all the way. And but it depends. It's all relative.
So, question, how do you tell under fermented from over fermented? I know under fermented probably tastes fresh, maybe green. Oh, hold on. There's a poor network connection.
Yep.
We're back on?
As we're sitting here doing this podcast, the first case of coronavirus is being hit Nicaragua. So I'm sure the internet right now is being overwhelmed by information being passed by a lot of Nicaraguenses.
Yeah. Well, I saw, was it Honduras or some country saw today was it Honduras that shut down the cigar factories?
Yeah, Honduras shut down, precaution for a week, bread. So, yeah. See how this goes.
We're going to jump into that, but back to the question. I'm not sure if you heard it.
Yeah, over fermented.
Over versus under fermented. What's the difference between those two?
So, I mean, there's different factors you'd be looking at. When I say over fermented, a lot of time is could be flavor wise. That there's just kind of nothing left to the leaf, because basically what happens is over fermentation, if you keep going, you basically just work down all of the cellular walls of the leaf to a point where, especially if you're working with heavier, thicker tobaccos like broadleaf, eventually over fermentation, it will disintegrate on the production floor. Like, you will open that leaf and try to spread it out, and literally it will literally start disintegrating. Whereas the proper leaf, should have good elasticity. It should have that oil, and then under fermenting, you're going to get combustion problems. Okay, you're going to get, but it's also with flavor. So that's what I'm saying. It's a flavor. You can have combustion problems. And you're going to have flavor problems in that it's going to literally start, tasting green, or it's going to taste, harsh, or sometimes maybe too bitter. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, and the pilones, are they kind of like a spiral, like a cylindrical thing and stacked? Is how they're done?
Yeah, I mean, there's some that use the circle pilone method. There's certain people down here that have gotten creative. Oliva Tampa, the tobacco family, not the cigar family. I think Tyler has seen that process where they've developed a whole technique where they're not actually then bunching gavillas, which we call them, which is like hands of, how many leaves per hand, do you know? Depends on where you're at.
It depends on where you're at.
Yeah, 25, 20. Some people get bigger gavillas.
I'm going to say 18.
18.
Good guess, Tyler.
Yeah, so it depends, but you'll do circle pilones. But you really need 7,000 pounds to really get that heat up if you're going for some of the heavier tobaccos. Sometimes it's a little bit longer process when you're dealing with smaller pilones, because it's tougher to get that heat really up in the pilone.
And then when you switch it up, you mix it up, you put the outside or the topmost layer in the center, the lower floor, so it kind of evens out.
Yeah, usually so what they do is they'll, like when they're turning it, they'll set up another pallet, and then they take the top and then they put it down. Yeah, but they, like what the ones he's talking about, where it's like the edge of the leaves are sewn together, and they do that little shake thing, and then they flip them.
Yeah, shake it out, shake it.
Now, someone was saying, like, I was at a different factory, and Olivas, they use that for the wrapper because they say it doesn't damage it. Other place says it damages it when you shake it. And I'm like, I was talking to one of the guys there, he's like, it doesn't damage, you're going to damage some, but...
Yeah, it all depends on who's handling the leaf and how much care you're handling the leaf, but... with that saying, they're moistening the tobacco to get it, pliable to work in the pilones or to pack in boxes. So it depends on what they're using it for.
Oh, yeah.
But some people feel if you're wetting it down, directly with water, that sometimes you can get stains in the wrapper, or you can get, less yield. Because at the end of the day, it becomes about yield, and especially, wrapper. It becomes how many cigars you can make out of a pound of tobacco, 5 pounds of tobacco, 10 pounds of tobacco, 20 pounds of tobacco. So Every factory has its own method.
Can we talk about the different growing regions? The main three are Esteli, Condega, and Jalapa. Yeah. So Esteli, that's usually the strongest. Or you can say it, and then Condega is close to Esteli, so kind of the same similarities with strength, and the leaf isn't as thick. And then Jalapa, the thinner leaf, you get a little more sweetness, right?
You get a little bit more sweetness because that's the valley of the Jalapa Valley.
Yeah, and it's got like red sand, like soil. Yeah. And then it's a softer leaf.
Sometimes it's a little bit softer. Yeah, Esteli is definitely the most, I would say, stronger. But again, it depends on what farm you're at, what seed varieties they're at. I was at a farm, this week. They were going broadleaf there. The farm was maybe, a 5-minute walk from one farm section to the other, which was up on a hill, up on the side of a hill, compared to more down in the valley. You had completely different results. In the one part you had more clay, in one part you had more of sand. I'm by no means, have a PhD in the scientific part of it, but it definitely, you can tell by the tobacco in the region that it's completely different at different farms. But in general, Esteli is, a lot more potent. In general, Nicaragua is more potent. I think that's what makes Nicaragua so interesting, and why it's become, in the marketplace, is become such a force, is because compared to other countries, not saying other countries are bad or worse or whatever, to me what makes tobacco bad or worse is depending on your quality control, your sorting and selecting, how you're fermenting. But in general, Nicaragua, from the Seco, the lower primings, to Viso, to the Ligeros, there's such a diversity of flavor and strength from the bottom to the top primings that I just, haven't really seen in other countries, especially for filler tobaccos. And that's all three of the growing regions. But then when you do get into the specific growing regions, generally Esteli is on the stronger side, Condega is more in the medium, and then Jalapa, I don't think it's much lighter. To me, it's still more in that medium, but you definitely have, a little bit more sweetness in the tobacco.
Okay.
And then you got Ometepe.
Ometepe, yeah.
What's the one that's on the Honduran border?
Hamastron crosses over into the Honduran side. Then you have Pueblo Nuevo.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, Pueblo Nuevo, which, to be perfectly honest, I haven't worked with a whole lot of Pueblo Nuevo. My experience has definitely more been with Esteli, Jalapa, and Ometepe, but predominantly Esteli and Jalapa.
The High Clear Castle is Ometepe, right?
Yeah, has some Ometepe, yeah.
Nice.
Which is, pretty amazing because it's, smaller farms, crop farmers.
It's on a volcano in Lake Nicaragua.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing place because you just have these two emerging volcanoes shooting out of a gigantic lake, and it's just like a paradise over there.
And how far away is that? Why haven't we gone there?
It's about 4-hour drive from
That's
here.
fine.
3 hour. Yeah.
Is one of those volcanoes Mombacho?
No, Mombacho is on the Granada Lake.
Okay, so there are a bunch of volcanoes then around there.
Nicaragua has the most active volcanoes in Central America.
Okay.
So if you actually see on a map the two lakes, Lake Managua, Lake Nicaragua, which is the larger one, Ometepe is on the larger, and you'll see the two volcanoes, and then you just sort of follow those north, and you'll see this ring. It's part of the Ring of Fire. So this ring that extends across the west coast of Nicaragua up into a place, Chinandega, and then into, I think, El Salvador, Honduras.
Cool.
Have you been to Casa Vavili?
I haven't been in a long time, no. I think it was there when he was first starting, but not in that new building, which is gorgeous.
Yeah, because I heard he's got to do something different down there because the humidity Like he's got to keep them in
the factory.
Yeah, in the factory, he's got to keep the cigars in a.
Yeah, I'm sure the humidity during rainy season. I mean, you're in lower, whereas here we're be a little bit drier, cooler.
Yeah.
But still, during the rainy season, I mean, there was so many times in the past where, you literally have to stop production. Because you can't start working the production floor if the filler tobaccos are at a moisture content that is like above, 8 to 10%. And you're going to have some real issues with bunching. Because if you notice on the production floor, the filler tobaccos are at a drier moisture content.
Yeah.
I don't know if you notice that, right? Mm-hmm. So then when you're working with the wrappers, again, it depends on who you're working with, especially Maduro wrappers, they're really wet. So like when this cigar is made, especially this ring gauge, you're looking at 58.
58?
56, I'm sorry. It's like a lot of tobacco that's dry. And the wrapper absorbs, it's so wet, the filler is just absorbing all of the moisture into the fillers. And that's what we're doing over time is then we're not humidifying like you guys are doing in the States in humidors. We're actually trying to naturally remove the moisture from the sticks during the aging process. Because otherwise you'll be getting wet. They smoke hot, then you start squeezing them, and it's a disaster.
The one thing like I've learned that is kind of nuts is when they
yeah,
and then they do the break.
They break it.
They break it, they end, and then they have to re-disperse that tobacco within the cigar. Mm-hmm. First of all those fucking tobaccos, I mean, I guess they all look the same. That's a little darker, but it's like, how do you get the blend fucking perfect? And how do you, when you break it, every time to make a consistent blend with how you're dispersing the fuck? I mean, obviously that they do it a million times a day and over years, but it just seems like I would never get that shit right.
Yeah, so again, like that starts, getting into, depending on what you want in the blend and how the cigar to go, that is definitely a crucial part, because when you're looking at the leaf, it's just like the leaf is connected to the stalk, right? So as you get kind of down to the part of the leaf that's connected to the stalk, in many's opinion, in mine, that starts getting bitter. Whereas towards the tips, you're going to get a lot more of the strength. You're going to get a lot more. So you can get cigars sometimes where you get like the first third and you're like, oh, snap, this is really strong. And then you get through that first third, and it sort of mellows out.
They put the tip in the front, because they put the Lajero in the front.
Or you can redistribute it through the blend.
Yeah.
Tyler, taking notes. Got to put the tip in the front.
People, might use the part closest to the stalk, and they put it in the foot, and then you'll get the opposite. You'll get a cigar that starts off really bitter or sour or something, and then it sort of opens up after the first third.
So why not make a cigar where you don't put any of that bitter tobacco in it?
Yeah.
All tips.
Hey, man. I'm not gonna say anymore.
I'm naming my cigar.
Can't give away all this.
My cigar is called Just the Tips.
Oh, man.
Hey, real quick, before we get to the end, because we usually only do it at the end, shout out to our sponsor, CigarNoise. If you want to post pictures of cigars, Instagram's fine, but if you want to place only 4 cigars, check out CigarNoise. We have links to reviewers. There's a website as well. Go ahead and check that out. And Dave West, our fearless leader, just got back into the States, I believe, a day before the lockdown happened, and he was unable to fly back. So he made it just in time.
So there's nobody that can come back into the States right now?
Well, see, that's what I'm telling Tyler. He's going to be there for another 3 months. I'm not sure how it is flying in from everywhere, but you got to buy some more underwear, man. Get some chonies.
Yo, big up to Dave West. Love Dave. CigarNoise. Got to check it out. Big fan.
Cigar Boys Noise.
Oh, shit.
Shout out to Skip.
Shout out. Bruh, bruh.
Hey,
So are you going to? I don't think you want to spend all day with me. You'll have to drop me off there.
No, I can't spend all day with you. I told you I'm picking you up at 9. No, 8. Was it 8?
We're going for breakfast at 8.
Yeah.
And then we're going to the factory at 9.
You got me from 9 to about 12, son.
That's fine. Just drop me off at Nica, and then we're going to meet it for dinner.
Are you telling him to do this?
Yeah.
Well, it's nice. He like dinner. That was pretty
It's
nice.
my treat.
Hey, Tyler, real quick, your Instagram live video, you walked to a Pizza Hut and then there was just a horse walking down the road. So do people just eat at Pizza Hut? Or what's the deal, man?
I feel like I'm an inconvenience to a lot of people, so I didn't want to ask Skip for a ride. So I started walking.
So he called me.
So I called
what
Nick.
What are you talking about?
I walked for about 15 minutes, and I'm like, where are you? And he's like, oh, I'm heading over to Gus's house at 6:30. I'm like, oh, you should pick me up. I'm by a Pizza Hut. But I wanted to do a video, but I don't like recording people without asking. I wanted to record, hey, can you give me a ride? And then it would be Nick, and it would be kind of fun.
I told him to meet me at the Pizza Hut because there's not many places you could, describe where to meet somebody. You have to use landmarks. There's no addresses here.
You can't just ping locations like Call of Duty.
Yeah, ping location works.
Yeah, like the first time I asked Skip if I could come over, Skip's like, he sent a picture of the outside of his balcony. I'm like, okay, can I get an address? And he's like, oh, I'm by Los Arcos or wherever, or around that area. So I don't know. You have questions, or how do you want to do this?
Do you have comments, questions, or concerns? I mean, when do you have questions? You guys are already into it here. Jeez.
Yeah, we got.
Yeah. So we had a question last week when I posted it. I forget who asked it. I think it was V Cut Everything, Richie.
You said one of your.
He cut everything.
Either he or Moo Cow Rich. But the question was.
Oh man, he cut everything.
Yeah, the question was, Nick, I know you, the Grasshopper is based off of some information you found in an old cigar book. Where do you find your old books on cigars?
Man, dude, you guys are going to start giving me up all my secrets. It depends. Rare book collectors. You can definitely find some stuff on eBay. It's amazing what you can find on eBay. But I have some rare book collectors that I sort of search down. So I'll usually be reading, like that book I was reading, I think I was reading old crop reports about like broadleaf. I think I was reading a book about broadleaf and Connecticut tobacco.
Nerd.
And it referenced a textbook on tobacco. And then... I managed to find that book. I forgot what site it was, to be honest with you. But it was like a rare book site. Like I have a few that I try to find, or I'll just search, man. Just searched it down, and then usually you can find a book collector that might have it. And and I never read that before, man. I never heard that after having smoked cigars for 20 plus years. And being in the industry for so long, I've always heard the explanation of cigar, like, the taíno potential of the etymology of the word, and a couple other explanations, but that just made a lot of sense. And I ended up finding in a couple of articles in like newspapers too, the same explanation, which I thought was interesting. So yeah, it was kind of shocking to me that I never had heard it up to that point.
Cool.
English teacher, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody knows we're talking about grasshopper. So in the book, it talks about, the Spanish at the time when tobacco was being discovered. A lot of the Spanish, what do they call them? Like nobles had gardens, which they called cigarelles, which is Cigarrel, which were, little gardens, which they would have exotic plants in. And, these aristocrats had money, so it was sort of their pride thing. There was no TVs back then or internet, so it was like, come check out my exotic plants from like Fiji and God only knows where. And those the root of that word means the place where the grasshoppers are thickest. So the theory was eventually that word turned into, by visitors, tobacco cigar, eventually, which tobacco, at that time eventually became one of the largest cash crops in the world. So,
nice.
Yeah. Hence my new event only pack. I gotta have something special for the guys that come for the events and buy boxes instead of, a lot of people do, buy a box, you get kick some sticks or something like that. So it is always cool to get, something special, something rare that's just for those events. And that's kind of how I started Mentalic. It was, I wanted to have something special when I did events. And
I still have one left over from when you did that event at Lake Country, the Little Smoke. I got one left. I gave one to Todd.
Oh, nice. I forgot I had them there.
Yeah. Are those buns exactly the same?
Yeah. So the ones in the pack, a lot of them had a year age on them.
Okay, that's it.
So a lot of them, because at one point I had made a bunch and then I wasn't on the road, and that was at the end of the year, right? June.
Mm-hmm.
So they had been, I think, aging for almost 10 months plus. So yeah, there was some talk that they were different or the wrapper was different. No, that wasn't the case. They were just, with time, those blends really kind of round out.
I think too, when there's no cello on them and they're just in there together like that, because they had no cello, right? And then they're touching each other. I think that, like, I kind of like what Tatuaje does with some of it. I mean, a lot of the stuff now comes cello, but they'll put it in that wax paper and then like a big bundle, and then you just keep them in there, and all the oils are.
Dude, I'm all about that.
Yeah.
If I was not totally influenced by some of my counterparts, all of my sticks would be no cello in the box. But
the tabernacles, yeah, those are.
I wouldn't let anybody do it with the town. I would never do it unless I'm forced to by like the government or something like that. Because for me, that's a ceremonial experience. Opening up a box of tabernacles.
Oh yeah.
Pulling them open, and now we have this, white protective paper. Because we were finding some of like the double Coronas. This was like a year and a half ago. Shipping from East Coast to California, long transit. If there was a little bit of wiggle room in the box, then you'd have problems with the foot. So now they have this beautiful kind of onion paper inside to protect it, but they stay nice and nestled in that.
Nice and tight.
Yeah, I love
Nice
that the video you did, the Seed to Ash, and then they show them packing the tabernacle.
Seed to cigar, yeah.
Seed to cigar.
Yeah, I like that. Seed to ash.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was, as a cigar smoker, would be cool because I never really saw somebody do a time lapse of the process, and so many people ask about the process. So to be able to, we worked on that with my man Kenneth Espinosa down here in Esteli. He also did that fun music video we did with the reminders. But yeah, we were actually really working on that Seed to Cigar video all year, and that's eventually how the music video came to be. Is we already had all this video content we were working on for the show that year, and then then friends of mine sent me some audio tracks at the end of May, and I was like, we gotta get you down here and shoot a visual for this.
You want to tell them about how that, or about how quick it came together before the?
Yeah, the music video was just, it was just something fun that, I listen to a lot of hip hop from time to time, and, a lot of the hip hop community, especially now, a lot of, the hip hop community I grew up with back in the 90s, a lot of them have become serious cigar smokers. Friend of mine, Derek Jones, D Nice, he used to be with Boogie Down Productions back in. He, serious cigar smoker. I know Jay-Z's a big cigar smoker. A lot of those guys over at Rock Nation. So I was like, man, I've never seen a hip hop video and a cigar, in a cigar factory or, in the tobacco fields, in the barn. So we tried to, connect the process into some really amazing music. So they sent me that track in May. I was prepping for the show. It was kind of crazy. And then I listened to the track and I was just so inspired. My friends, the Reminders, there are a couple that just kind of keep me going because they're just awesome people. And Dave had a hip hop career for some time. I actually met him 5 years ago opening up for Nas. And anyway, they sent me the track in May and I heard it and I was like, we always talked about a trip to Nicaragua. And, I listened to it. I said, I could see this. And then, I've been working with Kenneth on those videos for some time. He had worked on a lot of reggaeton videos back in the day. So he had some experience shooting music videos. So, between, May, they flew down June, maybe 15th, 16th. It was a week before the trade show. And they flew down on a Monday. We shot Tuesday, Wednesday. And I flew out Thursday, and then we were in Vegas the next week for the show. Kenneth edited it, and, everybody was so excited and just riding this wave of creativity. And, when that happens, it was a lot of fucking work, don't get me wrong, and it was, a hustle, but we were just all so excited about it and believed in it and, really wanted to show Esteli. A lot of it we shot in murals. Foundation art director is from Esteli, Thief Operandi. So a lot of murals around town he did.
I met him at lunch, right?
Yeah.
See,
you didn't even know that was Thief?
I didn't know until you said he was your art guy. I'm like, is that Thief? And then, because he's like, oh, this is my friend Alex,
Yeah, Alex is his name. Thief Operandi is his game. And, Thief's been doing graffiti here in Managua and Esteli since like 95, I think. So we have a lot of similar interests, and that's why it sort of just works well. We just try to get inspired by each other, and I think it sort of elevates the work. So the Reminders just totally crushed it, and I played my best Puff Daddy.
Yeah. That song is catchy though.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, we're back.
Yep.
Yeah, you there?
Okay, yeah. Tyler, can you say Menelik 5 times real fast?
Menelik.
That's pretty good.
Perfect. And I'm going to edit out the first Mena, and then it'll just be like lick Menelik, Menelik, Men.
I knew when that was coming out, but would actually go that route. I just never knew who. And
Cigar
now I
Noise.
know.
Yeah.
Now I know. And knowing's half the battle.
Quick shout out before we, because I want to touch on the coronavirus, COVID, what's going on with you guys, how it's affecting tobacco.
We have to?
We don't have to, but
No, it's fine.
a ray of sunshine before we touch on that, if we do. Instagram deep dive. If you have Instagram open, pull up the account Joshua Coburn.
Great.
Who is this?
We're about to find out. Joshua. How do you spell his last name?
Coburn is
there it is.
Coburn. This guy, he looks hardcore, smokes a lot of cigars, but he always has like a positivity thing he does in the morning. Usually the morning. With
he
like
does.
Screamo Rock or something. He was in Nicaragua, I think, when you were there like a week ago or something. But some positivity to lighten up the mood. Check his account out.
Joshua Coburn. Joshua Coburn. There he is.
Yeah, he looks like have a totally wonderful day.
Yeah, dude. This guy's awesome.
Oh, there's Matt Booth. That's what I heard. I heard he was friends with Matt Booth. There's a picture of him and Booth. Or Matt working in the lab. There he is. Matt's a great dude. We gotta get him on
This guy's awesome.
Yep.
Is there a picture?
Big up to Joshua. What up? Killing it.
So Tyler, you told me to find 5 cigars to buy or to have for the quarantine. I only have 3 because these are 3 that I actually bought for the purpose. But did you come up with 5?
Yeah, let's hear your 3 first, man.
All right, so I picked up Bits of Havana by Warped, just because they did the whole thing today. They posted no shipping fee, so that was real nice.
I think, is that out of Topsa or I'll Tighten the Bronze? You know? I think Topsa, right?
It's Aganorsa Tobacco. I'm not sure where it's out of.
Okay.
Yeah, Thompson.
The Juarez Shots by Crowned Heads. So both of those cigars I like because they're smaller ring gauges and shorter. So I'm figuring if things get bad, I need some bartering equipment. I don't want to carry huge cigars around. Here's a nice, good cigar. Give me some beans for that. Thank you very much. Give me a potato. All right. Awesome. And my third was the Wayfarer CG Corona Gorda by Sereno.
Okay. I want a different... Yeah,
no foundation.
No Charter Oaks in there?
I almost bought a Charter Oak.
He's in California, so the taxes are...
I had the Charter Oak and I had the Menelik. I'm going to check my shop because West Coast Cigars, they have, during the quarantine, like roadside pickups. So I want to continue to support them. I might hit them up for some Foundation or some Romacraft because they have both of those.
Okay. So I kind of went with just what my top 5 cigars I smoke a ton of. So, number 1, Romacraft Neanderthal HN. Number 2, Padron 80-year Maduro. You gotta have those, you know. Number 3, Patina Churchill, Connecticut. Number 4, Surrogates Skullbreaker. That's like $8.50 for a little torpedo broadleaf. And then number 5 and 8, I'm not just saying anything Nick's here, I smoke a ton of them. The Huehuense Robusto.
Thank you. Thank you. I felt bad because I only had 3 and no Foundation. I'm freaking glad you threw that in.
Well, I didn't smoke a ton of those. We do. We sell a lot of Foundation, but if you're thinking about like,
Yeah, man, he's not throwing it in.
yeah, don't.
Come on, Dom.
There's a dog.
Where is he at? He really wants to hang out with us.
I keep telling you it's a you keep calling him a he.
Oh, is it?
Keep calling her a he.
Wow.
Anyways, but if we're going like cheaper routes, I definitely say Juarez Shots, Malugion, Rothschild, Maduro, Patina Precipitation. That's a good size. Habano, Connecticut. And then the Rothschild that Nick makes, the broadleaf or the... Is that Connecticut or Ecuadorian Connecticut?
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Charter Oak.
Charter Oak, Ecuadorian Connecticut.
Nice. And real quick, apologies to the listeners. I'm outside. I didn't think there'd be much traffic during the quarantine, but there are a lot of people driving to McDonald's or something. Whenever my mic picks something up, you guys is cut off, but all's good. Everything's fine.
We're good.
We're living life.
Good.
Rudy 808 from Fine Ash, sorry. I just met those people. I met them at TPE, but they forgot. Sam and Rosie, great people. Got to hang out with them. Rudy wants to know, Nick, what's Nick's favorite reggae album of all time?
Woo! Appropriate for this time, Bob Marley's Survival.
There you go, Rudy. Shout out to Rudy.
Survival, 1979, I think that album came out. Yeah, definitely. If I had to choose, I'd probably choose that album.
Speaking of Fine Ash, Nick will be there in hopefully in April for their 9-year anniversary or 10 years.
I think it's 9. Yeah,
9 years. Yeah.
9. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll get there over on. I believe it's the mid-April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you'll be at my shop, Lake Country, or the shop I work at, Lake Country Cigars in Delafield, May 14th, May 17th, something like that.
Giddy up.
The Thursday. Hopefully this Corona shit's behind us.
As long as you can fly out before then, yeah.
Well, he can drive.
I'll drive it up.
Nice.
That would you're getting across the border, every single country's border in Central America, and flying.
I got a question for you, Nick.
Ask me no questions, and I'll tell you no lies.
Can you talk to us and the listeners about what makes the Connecticut River Valley so special?
You know, the Connecticut River Valley, stop me if I've said this before, but the Connecticut River Valley, for your listeners to know, Connecticut, we're talking about Connecticut being a Mohawk word, which means alongside the Great Tidal River. This is Connecticut. 406 miles long is the Connecticut River. Starts pretty much in Canada, splits New Hampshire and Vermont, cuts through Massachusetts, then eventually empties into the Long Island Sound, right? Over by where our friend Nathan lives. That's over in Old Saybrook. That's towards Mystic. But anyways, when that river was a lake at the end of the last glacier period, it's called Lake Hitchcock. They were like gigantic Finger Lakes, but it was one lake after that glacier melted. Eventually, that emptied down and became the river, right? So when all that sand bed from the lake emptied, it all filtered into 30,000 acres north of Hartford, Connecticut, which is known as the Connecticut River Valley. So all of that sand, what happened, it left these perfect locks and meadows for growing tobacco and, of course, other crops. But what happens with the sandy loam soil, it's almost things, when you see it, it's like you can't grow anything in it. It's almost like you're at the beach sometimes. But that sand helps filter water, right? So the tobacco plant is trying to find the water. And because you have a little bit of clay down at the bottom, and there's not much clay at the top, the water is able to filter deep down into the earth. So the tobacco plant broadleaf is finding really, heavy root system, which makes for incredible tobacco. Whereas if you had all clay on the top and everything was settling to the top, the root system is going to go horizontally more. You're not going to go deep, which is going to make for thinner leaves. There's going to be less oil on the leaves. So that really helps contribute to why Connecticut is a great place for black tobacco. So we say black tobaccos is cigar tobaccos, whereas you have blondes, burleys, these other strands of tobacco, Virginias, yeah. Those are, more different, not Perique as much. Well, for the others are more for cigarette styles, whereas, Perique is more, although they do make some cigarettes with, I think American Spirit does, it's more the pipe tobacco style tobacco. So, the indigenous tribes have been growing tobacco there for, we don't even know how long. We don't even really understand even how long tobacco, was being grown and used by a lot of the indigenous tribes, which, it's interesting because they date tobacco at 2.1 million years old. And what was it? He was the guy that discovered the saber-toothed tiger. He's a Dutch, I think, not anthropologist, but is it anthropologist? Someone who studies like old bones and fossils.
Meteorologist.
No, not a meteorologist, but he discovered in Peru the first fossilized tobacco, which they date to
archaeologist
2.1. Yeah, here 2.1 million years ago. Which is interesting because if you go 2.1 million years ago, I think they call it the Pliocene era. So from 2.1 million years to about 10,000 years BC was this period of glacier movements, of ebb and flows of glacier periods. And I think eventually at, one point as people migrated and came to the Americas, it was then taken throughout the Americas. They actually say they think it went from Peru up north and then into Mexico, into the Americas, and then into the Caribbean. So I think they actually date like the San Andreas Negro seed older than the Habanesis Cuban seed. So eventually it went into the islands, and I'm sure if a Cuban, heard that, he would maybe challenge that information.
That's a strong cigar, Nick.
Drink some soda. You need some sugar?
This is Sin Azucar. No sugar, or no calories, no sugar.
You're not having the sweats or anything, right?
No, but it's back my throat. But I smoked a shitload of individual tobaccos today, so.
Oh, man.
Tyler's a lightweight.
Shit.
All right. Words of the week.
Yeah, but I got another question for you. Follow up now. Sorry,
man,
Dom.
Dom is getting cut off.
So the Pennsylvania broadleaf.
Yeah.
It tastes completely different than Connecticut broadleaf.
Is that what you're saying? That's what you're telling me?
And that's because of the River Valley, right?
That would be, yeah, definitely. I mean, you have a completely different structure of the soil. You don't have the river valley. I mean, it's, again, the difference. That's what makes every tobacco different and unique. And again, I don't think it's something that's worse or better. That becomes an opinion. Some people might like the Pennsylvania broadleaf better. Some people might Connecticut. That to me is all about more quality in the curing of the tobaccos. But every area has its own unique characteristic, and that's where things get more detailed as you get into it, because you can make it general, but when you really get into the different areas and farms and seed varieties, that's how you get so many different kind of blends and whatnot.
And then, so when I was looking at these,
Thanks, Tyler. Thanks a lot. Go ahead.
Like the fermentation bulks, the Palomes, it has all this information on there, but it would just say Esteli, and then priming 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
No, what I wanted to see was what seed was it, but I guess is it Corojo, is it Criollo, what
Yeah, I mean it depends on where you're coming from, what seed. I can tell you, a lot of Criollo 98 is grown as filler tobaccos because it's resistant to disease a lot of times. So a lot of times you will see Criollo 98 grown. But again, some places don't want people to know exactly the seed varieties, or they have hybridized seed varieties that, doesn't produce more seed, so they can have. That's a lot of people's competitive advantages, is having certain seed varieties.
But it's when you're smoking, so okay, you're blending a cigar, and then a lot of times I was working on a blend for our shop, and they bring out the individual tobaccos. All right, this is Esteli Viso, this is Esteli Lajero, this is Esteli Seco.
Yeah.
But it's is this Corojo? Is this Criollo? And it's
I don't know who you're hanging out with.
Yeah.
All right, Tyler, you done talking? Words of the week. Tyler, you better have a word. If you don't, pull one up now.
Go first. I have a word.
I got a word.
Give us a word, yeah.
So my word of the week is laconic. So
Laconic.
please use laconic in a sentence that pertains to cigars.
What's the word again?
Laconic. Laconic.
I don't
He's
know.
looking it
Laconic?
Yes.
Laconic.
I smoked a cigar that Nick gave me, and I'm in a laconic state of mind.
That's okay. I give you 7 out of 10.
All right, Nick, you got to use the word now.
I smoked a Menelik and it was colonic.
Oh, excellent. So laconic comes from lakonikos, Greek word for Spartan, and refers to how they would speak in very few words. So when King Xerxes said, "Come, lay down your weapons and I will spare your lives. And the reply from Leonidas was, come and take them, essentially. That was a laconic reply. And then there was this other guy who was trying to invade all of Greece. And he says, if I bring my armies up there, I will destroy you all. And they replied back, if. So that's laconic.
All right. My word is biffin.
Biffin?
Yeah.
Dude, that's the third time you dropped your cigar. You're straight up biffin right now.
Not even close. Nick?
Biffin. Biffin, is it a verb, noun, etymology, Latin?
I don't know. I don't even know what.
No Latin?
I don't know what verb and noun is.
Oh my goodness. Go to...
Noun, a person, place, or it's a noun. There you go.
Suck my biffin?
That works. Biffin, the small area between your balls and your bum.
No. Is it
Isn't that your
taint? I thought it was taint.
taint?
I never heard
Yeah.
of it.
Come on, what does it mean?
That's what it means. The small area between your balls and your bum.
That's so fucked up.
Well,
And
hey,
here's the second.
My
Between your. Huh?
my bidet has a women's setting, so it would probably reach my biffin.
There you go. This is great, guys. Between your balls and your bum, there's a biffin. It's a place where you shouldn't be sniffing.
I like it. I wish I had that line.
There you go.
Edgar Allan Poe.
So biffin.
Anyways,
Awesome.
there you go. Biffin. Urban Dictionary word of the week. Not as elegant as Dom's iconic.
Laconic.
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 Henry Laconic Jr. He's a country singer, right?
A lovely Henry Laconic. He knows how to play the clarinet.
Does he?
Hey, so I got a dip in like 5 probably.
What the fuck you got going on?
My girlfriend's gonna come over. I have to let her in the gate.
That's what your housemates are for, I
They're
thought.
letting people out.
We gotta. I'm gonna dress in all black. I'm gonna run over there.
Let's talk about the coronavirus.
Yeah, social distancing.
Yeah, so I am sheltered in place until April 7th, I believe, or April 10th.
Really?
Yep. So
You can't go.
we can go out for necessities, so for food, medical,
Okay.
obviously.
You can't be hanging out on the block.
No, you can't be skateboarding with the boys.
The boys.
Okay, so we're at 219,000 cases globally, 8,967 mortalities globally. It's very interesting. I hope it's these drastic measures have to be containing. I mean, because it's kind of. It's definitely a tragedy, but 9,000 deaths globally, 7.2 billion, is shouldn't be the zombie apocalypse. I mean, at this point, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not
Gotta prepare. Stash
You
your
gotta
Metalix
prepare.
now.
Yeah, I mean, it could get really interesting, right? I mean, we're just sitting down here. There's only been one confirmed case here in Nicaragua as of tonight. Honduras has, shut down for a week. So, yeah, I mean, if you can, I would potentially have a little stock
Yep.
of Foundation cigars.
Batting down the hatch.
And hopefully we can all get through this sooner than later. But I don't know. We have been it's been different down here because people have been reacting like the exact opposite of what's going on kind of throughout the globe. So
I did notice when I'm walking through the factory, people start coughing because they think I have it. Because I'm a gringo.
Yeah, people around here have been freaking out.
Yeah.
Yo, seriously, you guys, before you fly back, throw out your pants and your shirts, pack some toilet paper. It's real, man.
What do you mean, throw it out?
I mean, pack as much TP as you can fit in that luggage.
That's a great idea.
Because Dom was saying he couldn't find any TP.
Oh, I'm going to bring a suitcase full.
Do
I'm
it.
going to bring a duffel full.
You get confiscated at customs.
Yeah, I wonder if they fuck with me.
Just pack it tight, hide in your cavities.
Yeah, I wonder if I bring a whole. They can't stop that. They won't stop. Maybe somebody will jack it though if I don't have it on me. Like if I check the bag, yeah, somebody would totally jack it.
What does the world come to? What kind of toilet paper do you use?
Dude, I need that, like triple ply, the plush. I don't know if I get like Quilted Northern or something.
You know,
Scott,
it's interesting about the toilet paper because for the longest time, like I hear the stories about toilet paper here in Nicaragua because in the 80s there was no toilet paper, like because of the trade embargoes, because we've been through some serious shit down here. Hopefully they're not, I don't know. It'd be interesting. There's definitely not nearly as much resources and hospital beds and stuff like that here. So,
what are you drinking? Sort of a big stein.
Just water out of the stein. I had some rum earlier.
Nick, you should make a chicken themed cigar.
Chicken?
Pollo.
Chicken.
Call it roasted pollo.
Well, Dapper has that cigar. It hasn't come out yet with the blue label with a rooster on it.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
I'm
we
about
saw
it.
Ian.
Yeah, Ian's good shit.
Ian's good peoples. Check out Dapper.
Ian's fam.
California local.
La Familia.
Fresno.
Yep.
Foundation.
Oh, my girlfriend just said that she has a ton of meat and she can bring me some. Oh, that's prime. Bonus.
A ton
of meat. Like beef jerky? What are we talking? What kind of meat?
I don't know. I only have beef jerky right now because all the shelves are cleared, which is stupid. People are buying all this perishable goods. I mean, power goes out, and what are you going to do? Can't throw a massive barbecue party.
Why would the power go out?
Oh, my Lord.
There's your boy.
Don't even.
That's your boy. I hope the power doesn't go out. When's the power going to go out?
Well, no, I just like to prepare. So I picked up potatoes. I got rice, dry beans, some cans.
Smart.
Biffin. Don't forget to wash your biffin.
He's a smart man.
Got my throwing knives. Catch some birds that way. I don't know.
Nice.
All right, Nick, you got anything you want to announce on the podcast?
Yeah, I would like to announce this summer, fall, we have the anniversary of Wednesday, the 5-year anniversario. So I'm working on something really special. This September is our 5-year anniversary since I started the company and launched with Wednesday. So that's going to be a little treat.
It's only been 5 years?
Man, it seems like 10, man. I put in 5 years, I think, what common speed would be 10. I've been going, man. I've been going nonstop. Been 110% dedicated to you guys, the cigar smokers, to put my all into this. So
You're welcome.
I appreciate the support. It wouldn't happen without, guys like you, Tyler working the stores, and everybody just kind of spreading the word. And I put all my heart and soul into the product. So to see people respond to them has been it's been overwhelming in many aspects. But yeah, 5 years this September.
Nice.
This September is turning 32.
Do you really? What date?
The 29th.
Nice.
Dang, you're young.
He is young.
Hey, I'm
I tell
also. I was trying to mention this earlier. I didn't want to cut anybody off though. Tyler, this whole time you have like a notebook where you're taking down all your notes when you're walking around the factories.
Uh-huh.
Man, dude, that's if you were my student, I'd give you props for that.
You get an extra gold star for that.
I'd give you a pat on the head.
Slap on the what? What was the word?
Biffin. I gotta show you this later.
Dude, are you drinking out of a stein?
Yeah, it's water, but this is my Budweiser Stein my dad gave me. I saw it in an antique shop for like $60.
That's dope.
This dope, fam.
It's dope, fam.
All right.
Your girlfriend's here with some...
She's heading over right now. She's left.
All right.
Dom, we appreciate you.
Hey, appreciate you. Thanks for being on. And,
Yeah, my pleasure.
Putting up with Tyler for a week and a half or whatever. He's making you chauffeur him around.
I feel bad I haven't been with him. It's been so crazy with all this going on, and I lost a bunch of time in January because I got a little bit sick. No, syphilis. I did not.
Sick in the foot?
I had an infected toenail. That was bad.
Yeah,
so,
you were pretty bad at TPE.
I've been playing catch up ever since.
Nice.
So I get to try to slow down, I guess.
You gotta listen to Gus, man. Gus warned you, and you don't listen to him.
No, he saved me. If it wasn't for Gus, I would have had an infection. Would have went to my freaking dome piece. God forbid.
Is there really a bug in there?
Oh yeah, there's a bug in the side of my foot.
Still?
No, I had it
Moved over
ripped
to
out.
his ankle.
But he had to wait. I was too
I
shocked by that.
Cut out like an abscess from my earlobe 3 days ago.
There you go.
That's why you got quarantined. You got everyone else is teaching. You're like, let's get this guy with the unidentified fungus off his ear.
Yeah.
That's
All right. Well,
great.
rock and roll. Thanks again, Nick, for being on.
Pleasure, guys.
Viva
Nicaragua.
Shout out to Nate. Please change your Instagram. It sucks.
Hey, wasn't that cool, that promo he did, and he got the name wrong on it 10 times?
Cigar Boys Noise. Cigar Noise.
Noise. Yeah, no, that was
There
sick.
you go.
Hey, that was I think our most viewed podcast yet, actually.
Yeah.
Nate.
With Nate?
Yeah. People like
What if we
Foundation.
Then me?
Yeah.
I'm going to have him do my intro from now on to the...
Sweet.
All
All right, Dom. See you later.
Rock
Big
and
up to
roll.
Nate. Keep it going, Nate.
Nate, dog, what up?
Nate?
Yeah!